Fellas, Cinema back, another dish. How we doing out there? Good, great, yan, puke. Who gives a shit? Welcome back to the worst fucking show in the history of podcasts. By far, maybe. By far. Leaps and bounds. Why? I'm not sure that anybody watches movies anymore. 2, the host is terrible. 3, it's technically not a very sharp show because I don't edit and I put the only real time I put into this anymore is the actual watching of the movie, the bonus features, and the talking about it. I haven't decided how much longer I'm going to continue this, or do I do it low-key so that when movies do come back, I never stopped? I don't know. I don't know how the fuck I feel about it. All I do know for a goddamn certainty is that I don't have time to be doing it anymore. I know if you listen to the show all the time, you hear me say the same shit all the time. However, gang, there are people that are tuning in for the first time ever that may not know my life. And, I'm not saying that nobody cares about what the fuck I'm doing outside my life. That's not the issue. However, sometimes it does impact how the show sounds. And I'm telling you, it's getting harder and harder for me to bounce between anatomy and physiology and pharmacology into cinematography, choreography. It just, oh, man. Like, I had a brief moment there where I'm like, I was trying to, I do prep for this show, but very little. I operate, because I'm a grandpa, I think that if you are going to make the decision to do a podcast, if you need to edit yourself talking for 30 minutes, I would argue. I'm not saying that I'm right. I am not saying that I'm right. I would argue that you shouldn't do a podcast. If you have trouble, like if you can't trust yourself to talk for 30 minutes and you think that people are going to want to listen to you, but you don't trust yourself to just let it flow, just hang it up. Hang it up, all right? Now, for the people that are like, oh, man, maybe I should hang it up, hold on a second. If you really want it, you got to be obsessed. And I've deleted more episodes than actual movie podcasts have actual episodes. This is real talk too. I like the only person who I shouldn't even say rivals me. He does more than me. Is the I Know Movies and You Don't podcast with your host Kyle Brule. That motherfucker throws down all the time. So I'm not going to compare myself to him. But if you are obsessed, when this, what, I'm going to let Grandpa give you a little life lesson. Anything worth doing, like if it's going to be your career, if it's a passion, and you doubt your talent, or in this case, you doubt your talking for 30 minutes, be obsessed. And this even goes for some of my enemies out there. Be obsessed. Obsession beats talent all the time. Hustle, Adam Sandler. But not that I hadn't heard that years and years before that, but I did just watch Hustle the other day. Not a bad movie. Old Sandman does it again. I really enjoyed Hustle. Thought it was it's just nice to see him. I don't get me wrong. I like Skibidi-Doo Adam Sandler, and I also like dramatic Adam Sandler. I really do. Punch Drunk Love is strong. In fact, the dramatic moments, and I'm going to offend some people right now, but this is what I do. There are moments in Click that are great from an acting standpoint. Adam Sandler does a great. You may not like the movie. I love the movie. Tears my heart out every single time. You guys don't understand how precious time is until you don't have any of it left. I wish there's a couple of exes that, would get off of social media and realize that, you know what, maybe the kid wasn't as bad as I thought he was, But fucking, I pop a pill and watch TikTok and then I forget all about it. Anyway. Where was I? Oh, yes, I was always revealing a little bit of my personal life. Every show, that's what I try to do. Don't get me wrong, I like talking about the movies and everything, but I think what separates my show from other people's show is that I do get a little real every now and then, gang. I get a little real with y'all, because I had somebody the other day that was like, you never say your name on the podcast. I do know this. Occasionally I do if I slip up or whatever, but that's... I wish I could say, gang, that that's intentional. It's not. I don't think about it. I think it goes back to how I started this whole fucking rant. Obsession over talent. To me, listen, I could promote this show more. I could, and I would probably, garner a few more followers here and there. But anyone that knows me, they know that, man, it's about talking about people that, for lack of a better phrase, not to get you on you, but the people that impact me. It's about them. It's about the filmmakers that make me think or make me, on the edge of my seat or whatever the case may be. It's about them. I don't give a fuck. Like, if you listen to the show for me, cool. I'm not a complete fucking idiot. Cool, but that's not the point of this show. Never was, never will be. It is about, this whole fucking show started because I wanted people to get excited about movies again. And, I will say this is kind of fucked up. From the time that I started this show until present, I definitely do feel differently. So when I started the show, I got really bent out of shape because, it just didn't seem like people were excited about movies, this, that, or the other thing. And I was just like, man, but like, most of us, like, when we get off of work, we do go home and watch a TV show, or we do go home and watch a movie, right? Like, that still happens. I know it does. But it just seemed like I had heard, well, I watch this show, I watch this show, I watch Twitch, I watch this YouTuber entertains me, blah, blah, blah. And at the time that I started this show, I was like, fuck you and your short media, this is fucking stupid, like, like, movies are where it's at, for the most part. Movies and well-done TV shows. I hate to break it to you. When I say well-done TV shows, I hate to break it to you. All your Netflix original stuff, most of it's garbage. I'm sorry. Most of it. Didn't say all of it, so hang on to your DMs, because yes, there are some gems out there, even for me. Like, I fucking love Narcos and Mindhunter and fucking, listen, they're out, but the problem is just, well, it's a blessing and a curse. Blessing is filmmakers, artists have all these avenues to be able to get their shit out nowadays, which is fucking great. Problem is, if you are the consumer, you have to weed through a lot of shit to get to the good stuff. And then, if you're not like a connoisseur like myself, there are people that tell me some of the shows that they watch, and I just look at them like they have a third eye. Like, you really would spend your time watching that? Like, you really dumped 13, 14 hours of your life into that? You could have watched 7 movies that, you heard were good, but never watched, some classics or something like that. And I only say that so that you can kind of create a blueprint for yourself of what you should demand on your spare time. Now, going back to the whole how things have changed and everything, I don't necessarily know that sitting down and watching as many movies as I have is a good thing. In fact, let's put an end to it. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to sit on your asshole as long as I have. That's just a given. Now, having said that, I still, if someone's, I'm in a different position than you guys, so I urge you, occasionally watch a movie here and there, blow your wig back. Don't watch another episode of The Office. You've already seen it. Don't watch another episode of 30 Rock. 30 Rock's a good show. Watch something that's going to make you uncomfortable. In fact, one of my buddies, one of my coworkers, I was talking to him, and he was just like, man, I never thought about that, grandpa dropping wisdom. I said, listen, take yourself out of your comfort zone. Is there ever a right time in 2022 to sit down and watch a fucking Italian drama from 1960? No, probably not. However, provides perspective. Why I think everyone should be watching foreign films. That's just how it is. I can't believe it took y'all to fucking Parasite for you guys to take note. Oh, the people around the world make good films. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they fucking do. Anyway, backtrack. I can't say for a certainty that sitting as long as I have has been good. And in fact, like, if you are sensitive to too many things, it can hinder your everyday life. I am a very sensitive and emotional boy. I am going to therapy, but I'm convinced that between the Sid Vicious, that's how we'll say that in slang. Between the Sid Vicious and the amount of movies I've watched, it's not good, folks. It's not, gang. It's not a good thing, gang. I am in tune to way too much stuff that I just know for a fact that most people aren't. Not all people, most people aren't. And because of the Sid Vicious, I don't always handle it in the correct way. Anyway, but I do think movies will come back around. I don't know about physical media. I hope it fucking does. Because listen, if this is the first time you've ever tuned into this show, try an experiment for me. Watch Star Wars on Disney Plus, okay? Watch fucking Empire Strikes Back or whatever. Buy Empire Strikes Back on Blu-ray, 4K, whatever the fuck, and watch it that way and tell me what is better. I mean, if you're going to sit there and say like, "Oh, well everything looks and sounds the same," it's going to be very hard for me to want to know you. But I just, because I want physical media to stay, but like I'm just getting real nervous because I work with a lot of young cats, and boy, are they disinterested. And that's fine. It's not that they're completely disinterested with movies, but the idea of buying a Blu-ray is laughable to them. And when I first started this show, I was like, you're a fucking idiot. And now I'm kind of just like, well, if this is where we're trending, I mean, you can't fight City Hall, you know? Anyway. But today's movie is no exception. Like, I'm so glad that I had, well, not only that, but like all the bonus features on this disc as well. But just supreme sound, a supreme remastering, 4K restoration from the 35 millimeter original print, or the original negative, camera negative. And it looked fucking great and was kind of mind-blowing, as I had never heard of or seen this movie. And for someone who, I mean, I'm a movie fan. A lot of people would say, oh, you like horror and kung fu. It's not inaccurate, but like, I don't know, it kind of pisses me off because I watch everything. I literally just fucking go to Instagram. Doesn't even include Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, whatever the shit my stuff's on. Talk about promoting ourselves, which I don't. Whatever my shit's on, I'd say my spectrum is just fine. However, in terms of zombie canon, I can't believe that I overlooked this one. You know, it's just shit falls through the cracks, all the time. Like there's still a handful of movies. I haven't seen Gone with the Wind. I think I've started it 14 times, but I haven't watched it. Casablanca, I think I finally finished that one day. And it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with just like, oh, I thought this movie was going to be fucking boring. I don't know. Like, I'm not at the age yet where fucking smoking cigarettes over a fucking glass of scotch is my daily output, you know? Like, I don't wear fedoras and suits just yet. I could. I just choose not to. I like to be comfortable. Reminds me of a Game lyric. The Game, you guys know him? That reminds me of I don't do button-up shirts or drive Maybachs. Yeah, that's a good way to describe me. But my point is, like, I just didn't think that I had, whatever. It doesn't matter because I have seen it, so it negates everything I'm going to say. But point is like sometimes things fall through the cracks. And this one, I can't believe fell through the crack because for a slow burn fucking zombie film with a killer fucking ending, how dare I? I was mad at myself because when this thing wrapped up, I was like, God damn, that was good. That was real fucking good. I don't know how well it would play to someone that's 26, but I mean, it depends. I got to stop throwing the youngins to the wolves, and I'm not really, because like I said, if you watch YouTube or Twitch or whatever, that's all fine and everything. But I have seen on more than one occasion where the parts that should be hitting for an audience, because like I said, I rent out theaters, I show films at my fucking home all the time to groups of people, and you know, I kind of watch the audience. You know, at my core, I am a writer who observes. So when I have people over, I'm watching the movie and I'm having a good time, but I'm always observing the people and to see if the beats are hitting where they should. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I showed a classic the other day, High Tension, Alexandre Aja. That one played pretty well. I was very nervous if it was going to hold up. I hadn't seen it in like 6-7 years, but I showed it to a group of 12. They liked it. One of my friends, she's not a big horror fan. She looked fucking disheveled. She was She was sweating. Her hair was all out of whack. Oh, I love you, babe. I love you. You're a good egg. But holy shit, you did not look like you had a good time. But I tried to tell her, like, look, we're here watching a horror film. Horror films are meant to be watched amongst friends, or I mean, you can watch it by yourself. I still watch horror films by myself, and the way that I have my surround sound set up, when that old woman groans or moans or whatever, and it hits in my rears or whatever, I still get startled and shit. That's how. But the point is like most of the time, horror films are more enjoyable with a group of people. So. And that's what I was trying to drive home for her, was just like, look, we make jokes and stuff as it goes around. You have a good time. Oh, my God. We haven't even talked about the movie. The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. I am ashamed of myself that it took until however long ago I watched it. I don't know. It's probably been a couple weeks that I'm finally getting down to throw down on it. But The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, a.k.a. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie and Don't Open the Window. If we're going to choose between the three, I'm going to go with Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. I like that one. That's good. I like that one. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie stars Ray Lovestock, Christina Galbo, Arthur Kennedy, Aldo Massasso, Aldo Will Massasso, anybody? Giorgio Trestini, Roberto Passi. Man, these are so much easier to do than Cantonese or Mandarin. Holy fuck. Now, of course, I'll butcher the next few. Jose Linfante, I was still doing good. Giannini, Mestre, Gengergati, Fernando Hilbeck. Who else do we got? Vera Drudy, Vincente Vega, Francisco Sanz, Paul Benson, Anita Kobe, Joaquin Hinojosa. Fuck it. Let's just because he's called the Naked Man. Let's Vito Saliare. Yeah. Written by Juan Cobos, Sandro Continenza, and Marcello Coscia. Marcello Coscia. Yes, Marcello Coscia. There we go. Sounding real authentic. Synapse released this fucking... This film, I don't give a fuck if this film was even like 40 minutes longer, because I mentioned it's a slow burn, right, gang? If this film was 40 minutes longer and it still had the ending that it did, I wouldn't give a shit if it's 3 hours long. The ending is so fucking good and so ahead of its time. Like, when I watched the ending, I was like, man, this is some shit that you would see nowadays. It really would, like, in terms of like oh, fuck, did that just happen? We don't get at least for me, very rarely these days do I not see the ending coming from a mile away. It's why I don't watch it. If you're a first time listener, I don't watch trailers. I know no previews of any sort. If I go to a theater and a trailer to a movie starts to play that I know I'll see, the next Christopher Nolan, Tom Hardy film, whatever, Tom Hardy all day. But he's my muse. I will get up from my seat in the theater and walk the fuck out of the theater until that trailer's done playing. So, what I'm saying is like this, man, delivers on all levels. And I still was like, they probably won't. Oh, shit, they did for the ending. And I sat there. The credits are still rolling. I was like, man, I wish because of the day of the internet, I'm about to fucking lose all of you right now. Maybe even myself. Probably myself as well. I guess what's kind of shocking to me anymore, and I'm not saying that movies shouldn't end a particular way. Because it goes both ways. Double-edged sword, again. I've done so much Sid Vicious that I can never make up my mind. But there are movies that need to end with the guy getting the girl, or the girl getting the guy, or the bad guy losing. That has to happen, okay? That's why we go to the movies, so that we can have redemption and shit, right? Sometimes it's nice when None of that happens, okay? And again, go in the time of the internet, I'm kind of shocked that we don't have stronger endings in films now. Now, on the one hand, I get it. It is so hard to be original these days. And you don't want to have like a jaw-dropping ending that makes no sense, that it's not, relevant to the plot at all. Like, again, you have to be reasonable here. You can't just be like, oh, I saw that ending coming a mile away. And 9 times out of 10, when somebody says that to me, I go, well, how do you want it to end? Like I was talking to someone about Top Gun, and they were Top Gun Maverick, which was okay. I mean, it was fine. I don't know how much you can do in a fucking F-18 fighter pilot movie, in a fighter jet movie. But they were talking about the ending. Well, the ending was kind of cliche and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's Top Gun. Like, how did you want it to end? Was Maverick supposed to fucking crash into his own fucking boat and kill everyone, and that's how it fucking ended? The fucking enemy won? Come on, you wouldn't like that either. I am sorry, I'm losing it. What I was getting at is, in the day of the internet, I don't understand how we have all this information, right? We can do all this reading. Somehow we're dumber, but we could do all this reading, and because of that, I think it should make you just by nature a better storyteller. And let sleeping corpses lie. The living dead at Manchester Morgue. Don't open the window. It's just beautifully told. Is not probably it is far from the right way to say it, but it is expertly told. The execution is crazy from top to bottom. Like, I'm just sitting here going, well, when's this going to happen? When's this going to... Oh, there it is. When's this going to happen? When's that... Oh, they tied that knot up too. So what is The Living Dead in Manchester? This, by the way, this Blu-ray from Cinex, packed. Fucking packed with all the good shit. Like, I want to say 3 to 3.5, 4 hours of bonus features. Fucking great. Every last minute of it too. 2 commentaries, or is it just one? Nope, 2 audio commentaries. We'll get there. What? We're fucking 23 minutes in, and all I've mentioned is zombie canon. A strange twist of fate brings 2 young travelers, Jorge and Edna, Jorge played by Ray Lovestock, Edna played by Christina Galbo, to a small town where an experimental agricultural machine may be bringing the dead back to life. I say that again, which I just find was kind of an original idea, right, gang? Even now in 2022, I'll say it again. Jorge and Edna, travel to a small town where an experimental agricultural machine may be bringing the dead back to life. I thought it was cool. As zombies infest the area and attack the living, a bull-headed detective, Academy Award nominee Arthur Kennedy, thinks that the couple are Satanists responsible for local killings. So you hear me. The zombies are coming back to life, but they think these 2 fucking hippies, these 2 young travelers, are Satanists. Satanic panic. Responsible for all these killings. Well, Jorge and Edna, I would like to count the number of times that I've read off the back of a fucking Blu-ray thing where this phrase has been uttered. Have to fight for their lives. I bet you. So, I don't know, we're somewhere over 200 in the episode mark. I've deleted more than some movie podcasts have actual episodes. I would be at like 323 something right now, but I had to get rid of a lot of fucking drivel. It was just boring. No fucking hate in my heart for some of the people that got deleted off of my catalog. It's just fucking boring, dude. Like, there is no reason I needed a 6.5 hour podcast that was talking about a decade in horror. No reason whatsoever. If I wouldn't listen to something like that, why would I force you to do it? Anyway. Jorge and Edna have to fight for their lives. If anybody's got a number on that, how many times I've said that for this show. fight for their lives and prove their innocence as they try and stop the impending zombie apocalypse. Zompocalypse, baby. The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, a.k.a. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie and Don't Open the Window, is a gory horror tale from Spanish director Jorge Grau and widely considered to be one of the best zombie films ever made. And now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm saying it out loud, I do not hate that fucking sentence. In a fucking world where we have tons of zombie films, Train to Busan, Shaun of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, The Return of the Living Dead, 28 Days Later, all these good ones, man, it would be up there. And this one, it's 74, gang. 1974. One of the best zombie films ever made. Let that marinate for a second for all you horror fans out there, you zombie fans out there. Of course, I have a weird suspicion that The Walking Dead may have ruined zombie films for all time. Or, like everything becomes cool again after a certain amount of time. 20 years from now, zombie films will be cool again. I don't know. But I stand by that. It is one of the best zombie films of all time. Merely for the last 15, 20 minutes. Perfectly executed, and that's how I wanted the story. When you look at the story as a whole, because again, let's go back to what I was saying, 10, 15 minutes ago. You can't just come up with an ending that's jaw-dropping, that has no fucking bearing on the plot, where you're just like, oh, we're going to introduce a new character that comes to save the day or some shit like that. You can't do that. Or like the fucking, well, you get what I'm saying. I don't hate that sentence, gang. Beautifully restored in the 4K from the original camera negative, Synapse Films presents the film with the true original English theatrical mono mix and the real opening and closing credit sequences intact. I really want to watch this with a group of people right now because I always want, it's like when you get a new toy, you want to show it off. I want to show this movie off because, like, this is leaps and bounds better than The Walking Dead. Walking Dead's brutal. It's got so much blood. Yeah, cool. But how about that story, though? Because it just seems like I quit after Glenn took his shellacking. I quit after Glenn because it was just turmoil amongst the group. And I was just like, okay, I've had enough. I get it. The humans versus humans. I got it. Who's going to be the dirty one this season? Like I just fucking whatever. And I got it. Like, I tell people that all the time. Like, so I always, what's funny? I always bang on people for, like, watching The Office over and over again instead of watching new films or pushing themselves out of their comfort zone and shit. No. I gotta stop being so negative to the very people that listen to this show. So I'll stop. Anyway, what does this disc have on it? We have the exclusive new 4K restoration from the original 35mm camera negative, new 5.1 English stereo surround remix made exclusively for the Synapse Films release. And like I said, before we even got into the bonus features, I would just, another just random statement, I would rather have a good surround sound system and a 19-inch TV than a 90-inch TV and a soundbar. I'll say it one more time. I would rather have a 19-inch TV with good surround sound than a 90-inch TV with a soundbar, because that's how you're supposed to watch stuff. If everything's coming from me from the front, it's not real, bro. It's not how it was intended to be watched. 2 audio commentaries featuring authors and film scholars. Oh, there he is again, Troy Howarth. I've talked about him a number of times on this show. Nathaniel Thompson and Bruce Holacek. Restoration of the true original English language theatrical mono mix. Remember I was talking about those bonus features. You have a feature-length documentary, an hour and a half long, Jorge Grau, Catalonia's cult film king. Catalonia's cult film king. This extensive feature-length documentary explores the life and films of director Jorge Grau. The scene of the crime, Gianneto de Rossi. If you guys don't know who Gianneto de Rossi is, give it a goog, baby. Legend. In discussion from Manchester, Gianneto de Rossi Q&A at the Festival of Fantastic Films, 43 minutes long. And then you have the original trailers and TV spot. You know what I miss? I was thinking about the other day because I watched the original trailer for this one. There was just something about how trailers were done back in the day. in comparison to now. I mean, I can't watch them now because you have to show me the whole fucking film before I even get in the theater. And for someone like me, like, the images stay, so I already start concocting what's gonna fucking happen and shit. And by the time I actually get to the theater to sit down, I'm like, oh, well, this is what's gonna happen. And that's just no good. That's not why you go to the theater. You go to the theater to be entertained and thrilled and surprised and happy and sad and da-da-da-da-da. And I want to experience all those, what feels like a first run-through. What feels like a first run-through. The only trailers I watch anymore is if I have never heard of the fucking film. Never heard of it, didn't know that they were doing it. Most of the time that happens with A24. I find myself, like, I won't walk out of the theater if it's an A24 film that I haven't heard of, because A24 does such a good job of being bizarre and original that I'm like, all right, well, like Lamb. I remember when I first saw that trailer, I was pissed that I watched it, but I had to watch it because I had no idea what the fuck was going on. Like, I was just like, wait a minute, and then all of a sudden, fucking a Lamb baby, and I was like, what the A24. Gang, The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, a.k.a. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, a.k.a. Don't Open the Window. Goddamn good zombie film. Please get this physical release, because I can promise you, wherever you find to stream this, it's just not going to be as good. It's just not going to be as good. I find it happening all the time where And you get a different cut of the film sometimes. You get a completely different cut of the film, which is just wild to me. I say this on the film all the time. Why can't we just have the definitive version? Why do we always need to leave stuff on the editing floor? I know I'm in the minority, and fucking people are just trying to, be entertained and then go home and fucking give their wife a little pickle tickle and be on their way. That's from League of Their Own. Calm down. I'm not just being fucking Grandpa Pickle Tickle, Sean. It's from League of Their Own. So movies on movies, right? Film was cool. If you like horror film, even if you don't like horror films, if you like just well-told films, I promise you're probably not going to see the ending coming. And if you do, it's not going to be any less hurtful to your feelings. It will still hurt your feelings. Synapse Film has put together a great fucking release of The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. Whew. I gotta go do anatomy and physiology now. It's not all that great. I don't want to. Actually, I don't want to be doing this. I do want to be doing that because that's going to pay me more. Ellis Cinema. The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. Synapse Films release. Synapse Films release. Get it now, baby. Ellis Cinema, we gone.